For my math center, I decided to do a multiplication center that would be geared for third graders. My center will have a variety of activities that are meant to be completed in small groups or independently. Along with these activities, the students will also have access to iPads with multiplication apps already preloaded on them. In order for me to make sure students are completing the work, we'll have a math journal. In these journals, students will have to paste related materials that they have completed into this book. At the end of each activity, they'll also be required to write a sentence about what they enjoyed about this activity. And then at the end of each month, I will collect the journals, and if they have completed 3 or more of these activities, they'll be able to participate in a class raffle for a prize. So a couple of the activities that we will be doing is the multiplication array city. This is a simple activity that you can use with graph paper. It basically is students will have to choose a multiplication flashcard and create the problem on graph paper. They'll be required to make 7 or more buildings to make a picture, and they'll have to decorate it like the picture here on the right. The next activity is the multiplication array capture game. This is a game that is played with 2 players. The first person will roll the dice, and then this will become the numbers that need to be used for the dimensions of the array. The first player colors in the array with their color. Then they write their multiplication sentence on the middle of their shade array. On the first roll, players must place their array in the starting square. However, all future arrays only need to be touching an existing array on one side. The third step is to player 2 then rolls and continues in the same way but from their corner. And then if a player cannot create an array because there is no space, they lose a turn. Then the player that captures the most squares wins. The third activity is multiplication investigation, logic puzzles. Students will have to place all tiles down to make multiplication sentences true. They'll get this worksheet, and at the bottom they'll have to cut out the numbers, and those will be their tiles. There are often multiple ways to solve a single multiplication sentence, but there's only one way to make them all true, so they have to figure that out. The next activity that I have is the multiplication dominoes. Students will choose dominoes from a pile, then they will have to write 2 multiplication sentences and 2 division sentences to match their domino. And the last activity is the fact family bonds. Students, it's kind of similar to the last activity, but students will be doing this with dice instead. They'll have to roll the dice to create an equation, then they'll multiply to find the product, and then lastly create a fact family. So they'll have to do multiplication and division. And this is my math center.